Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host. I'm so happy to be here. Welcome to our very first show together here in 2021. Pretty exciting business. I want to let you guys know that I am over in the chat room, and you can find it by heading over to 12radio.com, clicking on the chat button, and you'll be redirected into the Facebook chat. I also want to let you know that I'm live streaming this event, so you may be watching rather than listening. If you're watching, you can listen at 12radio.com or on tunein.com, or the app TuneIn or the app Live 365. If you're listening and you would like to watch, you can do that through the live stream on my Facebook page, which is Katie Weaver Domestic Mystic, or on my YouTube channel, which is the same, Katie Weaver Domestic Mystic. So I did just share the live stream into the chat room as well, in case you are looking for it. That's a mouthful. I want you to know that I'm keeping an eye on both the chat room as well as the messages coming through the live streams. So I'm doing double duty. I'll keep an eye on both so that we can all stay together here. And definitely come and talk to me. Today, it's the first show of the year, it is the first show of the year, but also of the month. So we are going to do some animal communication today and probably cover some other topics. So if you need a reading, some energy work, I'm not going to limit us to animal communication today. However, if you need some animal work, this is a good time to ask for it. And if you want to share pictures of your fur babies in the chat room, we always love to see them. So that's what's going on up in here. Oh my gosh. I hope that you guys are well. We had quite the New Year's Eve, and we're still dealing with it. So I'll explain why. Some of you that listen to me on other platforms have already heard about this, but so sorry, you're going to hear about it again. But New Year's Eve, we hosted, and so of course we kept it to a very small group thanks to, the COVID. But my sisters and their spouses and my nephew Mike came up, and we played cards and had fun. And I had actually bought a bottle of absinthe to toast the new year with, which I don't know if you guys have ever had absinthe. I've always wanted to try it. I don't know why I haven't, except for that it's expensive, but we were sending out 2020. There was really no limit to what we would do to get rid of it. But anyway, absinthe, it's known as the witch's drink. So anyway, I've just always been curious about it. It is it's a spirit, so you might consider it a liqueur or a liquor, but it's actually considered a spirit. I don't know for sure what the differences are, but anyhow, it is basically it's made from fennel and anise and wormwood leaves and flowers. And that's what it's made from. We didn't know until Scott took the first shot of it and almost died. That it has an alcohol proof of 148%, which is insane. That's like moonshine and then some. Anyway, it was way hotter than we expected, way more alcohol content. We're such wusses that we ended up drinking it in half shots in glasses of Diet Sprite because we are lame like that. But it's okay. It was really interesting. I'm really glad that I tried it. I just have some kind of a draw. And as soon as I tasted it, I understood. I have a past life connection to this drink. So I haven't totally fleshed it out yet because then we had a huge trauma and shakeup that night. So I haven't gotten there yet, but I'll tell you about it. But first, I have to tell you what happened. You know my family. We laugh a lot. We have a lot of fun. We're pretty rowdy. And by the end of the night, some of us were quite drunk. And when everyone left, they all left at the same time. Well, apparently our bottom step, our second step, had gotten really icy and we didn't realize it. So when they walked down the stairs, Christy tried to fall and kind of did one of these big, trying to catch herself dances. So my sister-in-law, Rhonda, turned around to catch her and fell herself. And so fell flat on her ass in the front yard. And that was so funny that Kara, who was way too way too having fun on absinthe to be carrying this enormous instant pot that she was carrying. Laughed so hard that she dropped the instant pot in the front yard. So I just hear this hilarity ensuing. So I opened the door and I'm standing on the steps, and Rhonda's in the snow. Christy is desperately trying to help her and can't stop laughing. Kara has now dropped the instant pot and is kind of on her knees in the snow laughing. And her husband's trying to help get her up into the car. And that was so funny that I laughed so hard that I peed my pants on my own front steps. So that's a that's how New Year's Eve concluded at my house, or one would think. Oh yeah, Belle says the green fairy used to be fermented in wormwood too. That is absinthe. One of the absinthe names, lesser known names, is the green fairy. Yep, same stuff. Yep, and they used to drip it on sugar cubes. Yeah, highly recommended. If you're not on keto, like me. Anyway, so that's kind of how the night started. This was like 12:30. I went to bed. 2:30, my phone rings, and it is my son. And he had gone to Boise for the weekend to hang out with his friends and, go to his house for a little while because he's been living with us for the last 2 months while he was working. And so I sent him in my car because, well, my car's a lot safer. It's newer, it's nicer. And I just felt like that was a better situation. Well, there was a horrific accident on the highway. This was 2:30 in the morning, and he had taken Matea, my daughter, back to her house and dropped her off and was headed back home. Well, a drunk driver had chosen to, drive drunk and then get on the freeway the wrong direction. And it appears that he was driving with no lights on as well. So he was driving down the freeway in the dark, and there was a car full of kids in a Ford Focus, a bunch of teenagers that were drinking at a party and had called an older brother to come and get them, did the right thing. And this drunk driver and the Ford Focus had a head-on collision at about 65, 70 miles an hour on the highway. Micah came along. He was in the left lane. The way this accident happened, the Ford Focus rolled into the median, and the driver, the Sequoia, that was the drunk driver's car, his car landed in the right lane, blocking the whole right lane on its side. No lights on either car. And within seconds of it happening, my son came through in the left lane. Thank God he was in the left lane, or he would have slammed right into that Sequoia at 65, 70 miles an hour. As it were, he slammed into some of the debris from the accident and crashed my car. So he's safe and okay. He's all right. It did about $4,500 worth of damage to my car, which is fine. That certainly can be fixed. But it was really scary. He called me extremely scared and upset. I was the first call, and I said, "You need to hang up right now and call 911." Obviously, he did. But someone else, the car right behind him, had actually already called. But anyway, lots of ambulances came. The drunk driver, they had to extricate his car with the jaws of life and take him to the hospital. He was injured. In the Ford Focus, a 19-year-old boy died. And then 3 other kids were injured, one badly enough to put her in the hospital as well. It shook us all up a lot. Had circumstances been any different, I just don't even want to think. So he sat in his car for like 3 hours while they were, dealing with the people, of course, and finally helped get him sorted out. They decided his car was drivable enough that he could take it home. He was only like 10 minutes from his house. So he drove his car home. The insurance later said that absolutely should not have happened. It should have been towed because there was a malfunction with the airbag and it didn't engage. And the seatbelt locked, so he couldn't wear the seatbelt. But anyway, whatever. So my car is now 5 hours from home at a shop, and it's going to have to be fixed. But here's the kicker. Our insurance is trying to call this accident his fault because he didn't avoid the debris in the road. Had he avoided the debris in the road, he would have either rolled on the left side into the median and crashed into the Ford Focus, or veered into the Sequoia in the right lane. It was a completely unavoidable accident. So if we get stuck with it, our deductible, because I suck and did something apparently stupid when I set up the insurance on this car, you might recall I just bought this car about 4 months ago. Our deductible is $1,000. Plus, I don't want it to be on his record that this was his fault. It was absolutely not his fault. Anyway, so we have a bit of an insurance battle coming up ahead of us, I'm afraid, but I'm just holding the energy really high that they will, you know, see things our way, that this was certainly not his fault and that there wasn't a thing he could have done about it. It was also foggy and 2 o'clock in the morning. He couldn't see anything. He didn't even know that there was a wreck until he hit the debris. He didn't see anything. So anyway, so that's how we ended 2020, started 2021. And it's been pretty, yeah, that was pretty scary, honestly. We're still kind of shaken up about it, to be honest. But, we're just really grateful that he's okay, and really sad for the family of the kid that died. Micah didn't know him, but several kids on his football team did. And so he has kind of a, you know, connection to this kid in a couple of ways now, but it's just crazy. But anyhow, what a mess. What a just a rotten mess. But it is what it is. And I'm totally at peace that everything's going to be okay. Don't get me wrong. I am. And we'll fight if we have to fight, because that is insane for this accident to be ruled his fault in any way. But anyway, so that's how we rang in 2021. So I knew it had to get better. And so far, so good, actually. So far, so good. But many of you have reached out to me, and I appreciate you very much. And thank goodness he's not hurt, especially because getting the quote back today from the insurance was or from the shop, it was a little sobering in that apparently there's a bunch of damage to the seat, like the tracks of the seat and the airbag and the console, and like it's more messed up inside than he realized. And he said that he slammed his knee into the console. He says it's fine now, but anyway, that a lot of things, a lot of things go wrong in an accident like that. But anyway, so there you go. That's how 2020 kicked off for me, or 2021 kicked off for me. So 2020 left with a bit of hilarity. 2021 started with a bit of terror, but all is well and we're okay and we'll work it out. Yeah. So I want to call your attention to Luminous. Of course, most of you know Luminous is a magazine that I publish on Tuesdays with a little help from my friends. So I'm going to put a link in the chat rooms, but you can also find it over at katie-weaver.com. Just click on Luminous Magazine and you can make it bigger. There's a little arrow thing at the bottom that you click on and it blows it up so that you can see it. But let's take a look. I have to admit, I used this cover last year, this frozen bubble, and I liked it so much I want to use it again. So if we ever get that cold this year, I want to try blowing frozen bubbles. I think that's so freaking cool. But you know what happened? We didn't get that cold last year. I tried to do this last year. We didn't get cold enough. And so far this year, we have not been cold enough. We do have snow, but even in like towns, 30, 40, 50 miles away, they have no snow at all. So it has not been a hard winter, and now it's January and I'm ready for it to melt so we can play softball. So we'll see. But it says something to me about our climates, because I typically in July or January here, now I know the day is young. We have a lot of January to go. So I might eat these words, but typically in January here, it is not uncommon for us to be 15 or 20 below. Sometimes 30 below with wind chill, and we typically in January miss several days of school because the buses can't run because it's too cold. And we haven't had a cold day like that in a while. I usually, for Christmas, I fill up punching bags, like the kids' punching ball balloon things, with water and Kool-Aid to color them, and I line my whole walkway with them. Micah's puppy's attacking my feet and she's killing me. Just so you know, that's what's going on here. Scott, you got to come get this puppy. Sorry, you guys. She's something else. We're having a lot of fun with her, but she is way naughty. Okay. She's killing me. Thank you. She has super sharp puppy teeth. Okay. I ignored her for a while, but I knew I wasn't going to get through a whole show with her bloodying my feet up. Anyway, back to my balls. So I make these ice balls with Kool-Aid and colored water, or Kool-Aid and water, and freeze them. And I line my path with them and then wrap rope lights around them. And they're these, they're big. They're like this big around or more. Big, gorgeous balls of ice, and the light shines through them, and they are fabulous. Well, I was so sad last year it didn't get cold enough to make them. And so I was really hoping to do them this year. And guess what? It did not get cold enough to make them. So now here we are in January, and it's not that cold. In fact, it was 38 degrees yesterday. And again, not that I hate it, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to see us not having our regular climate. So 3 years ago, in a community right at the base of the Teton Mountains called Driggs, it's the place I was born, they were the coldest place on earth for 2 nights in a row. Yeah, on earth. Yeah, we're not having that right now. Not at all. Of course, neither are the coldest places on earth. So what can I say? But anyway, I don't know. It worries me. It gets my attention for sure. And no ice balls for me. I can't believe she bit me hard. I have to tell you, she bit me damn hard. Okay, so let's go back to Luminous. All righty. I called the magazine this week the Resilient and Ready. I want to say episode, but it's an edition because, we've been through the fire last year. If we weren't resilient then, we're resilient now, right? And we're ready. We're ready to hit this year hard or not, but we're ready for this year. It does seem like it's going to be an easier year. I do these 12-month readings. And if you've bought a 12-month reading and you're waiting for it, please know I am getting to it. I had an overwhelming response to them this year. And I'm not complaining, not at all. But yeah, it's taken me a little while to get through all of them. I've sold more of these this year than ever, like probably double ever before. So you can find them over at one2listen.com in my email readings. It's a 12-month video reading where I pull cards and I take a look at the entire year and give you a reading based on, every single month so that you can have a good look at what's happening for you month by month. Last year when I did these, I was uneasy. And in fact, I didn't feel like they were very good. I really worried about them. And I was sending them out to clients who were going, okay, this was awesome. Thank you. And I was relieved because I didn't feel very good about them. And I asked Scott, I said, am I just really negative right now? And he said, no, I don't think so. Why? And I said, because these 12-month readings are just not very positive and it's bothering me. You guys know I'm kind of a Pollyanna that way. And they just weren't. And it worried me. I really went, I had told him at the time, what the hell is 2020 going to look like? Because this just doesn't seem right. Well, true enough, we've had a very, very hard and unprecedented year. So this year, I've already, mowed through. I've done, I think, 9 so far. And guess what, guys? It's definitely going to be a better year if we can use the 12-month readings as a gauge, which I think we can. Still some ups and downs, still some restrictions, still some things, but definitely not nearly the consternation that I felt coming out of last year. So I also did my predictions show. If you guys, last Friday on New Year's Day, CA and Mark had compiled predictions from a whole bunch of us, and my show, Jay of Varvel and I shared an hour, and I did my predictions. I'm going to post those as a standalone file too that you can listen to. here on social media here later in the day, or you can go and find those at 1 2 Radio in the archives under me or under CA or under Mark. But that'll be coming up. But yeah, some interesting stuff in that in the predictions as well. So we'll see. Mary said she loved her 12-month reading. I loved yours too, Mary. I got to tell you, I loved it a lot. You guys don't know. It's so much fun for me. I know. It's wildly selfish. Some of the readings I do for you guys tell me so much. The 12-month readings definitely do. So does past life regression. I have learned more about life doing past life regressions than anything else that I've ever done, without a doubt. And I want to do more past life work with you guys this year. I feel like we haven't done enough. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Oh, Rebecca said she's been to Driggs last year when she drove to the Tetons for a few days. Oh, you were only about 45 minutes from me, Rebecca. But yeah, I was born there. We moved out of there when we lived in Felt, Idaho, which had, I think at the time, about 60 inhabitants, and nearly all of them were my cousins. Not a bad place to live, right? Oh, Sarah says, that's a heat wave in Rexburg. I grew up in St. Anthony, and I can't imagine it being warm right now, right? St. Anthony's got a little more snow than we do, and their roads are really crappy, but you know how poorly they take care of the roads up there. Not good. Actually, Rexburg sucks too, but the highways and everything are totally bare. Okay. So now we know it's not going to be so hard this year. That's the prediction. All right. I want to tell you about Spirit School. So, Christy and I, as you guys know, we have our True Crime Paranormal podcast that we've been doing now for the last 10 months. We just started our second season. This has been so much fun because we set a lot of goals when we first started. So, we started in the end of February last year. And our biggest goal was to monetize the account on YouTube by the end of the year. To monetize your account, you have to have 1,000 followers and you have to have 4,000 listening minutes. And we actually accomplished that in June, which was pretty cool. So what it means to monetize is that then you can have ads and you get paid. It's not very much, but it helps to cover the podcasting fees. It's not like we're getting rich off of this or anything, but we're really enjoying it. We just finished our 100th episode and moved into our second season, which is pretty exciting. And we just celebrated 40,000 podcast downloads. So that's what we accomplished in our first year. And we shorted ourselves by 2 months. So we'll see. Now, this year, we have upped the ante from 1 or 2 episodes a week, which is where we started, to 5 episodes a week. And so we'll have a lot more content after this year as well, but we're building quite a body of work over there, which is pretty fun. So, of course, we do a lot of true crime. We do 3 true crime cases a week, and then we do a live stream on Wednesday nights. That's just a compilation of, case updates. We usually cover a solved case, things like that. And then on Thursday nights, we do the Psychic Hour, where we do a lot like we did on Psychic Sisters. Well, from that, a lot of you guys and the people that listen to us over there were asking to take classes from us. And, as you guys know, Christy and I have been teaching metaphysical classes for, ever and ever and ever, right? So we decided that this would be a really good time to go back to it. And so we did. So you can sign up for Spirit School. Spirit School is a membership on YouTube. It's kind of cool the way they do this. You sign up for Spirit School, and it's $14.99 a month, and that entitles you to come to 1 guided meditation and 2 metaphysical classes every month. So basically, they live stream on that channel, but you won't be able to actually see them or take part in them unless you are a part of Spirit School. So if taking classes from the Psychic Sisters is something that you have been wanting to do, or if you'd like to, just step into that community a little bit, this is how it is. They don't really, that end of our work doesn't really have anything to do with true crime so much. I mean, we might do some psychic crime work classes down the road. But, basically it's just metaphysical classes and guided imagery meditations. So if you're interested in spirit school, all you have to do is go over to True Crime Paranormal, click on the membership tab, and you can join right there through your YouTube account. So, yeah, pretty fun. We're very excited. We launched it in partway through December, and it's going really well. So I wanted to be sure I shared that with you guys as well. All righty. Well, moving on. Oh, I have too many tabs open. Okay. If you have not looked at scopes this week from Kelly, you absolutely have to. They are hilarious. This is from the desk of Bitch. These are her bitch scopes. Her article this week is called The Cosmic O. Yep, that O. You really must take a look. So I'll read you one, and then you guys can go back and read some more for yourselves. So let's take a look. Let's see. Who gets it? How about Leo? I feel like the way you deal with money is undergoing a change or needs to. This isn't a bad thing or an omen. This is a message to get your shit together in a particular area. You may have been coasting or on autopilot where money is concerned, or you may be excessively worried. Whatever it is, something different needs to happen. More careful thought, organization, planning, and rulership of your finances is due. The word rulership came to me as I was typing, but it feels so accurate for a Leo. Money is a part of your kingdom that cannot be ignored. Don't begrudge it. Don't hate it. Don't dread it. Value and respect it and rule over it so it doesn't rule you. Yikes. Okay, well, that's Leo's scope, but I think that many of us can resonate with that as well, for sure. Let's also look at Libra. The hard work you have done in your partnerships will be paying off very soon. This partnership could be business, personal, or spiritual. In any case, you've sacrificed and squeezed and challenged yourself and your other. During this time between cycles, don't start doubting yourself. Use this time to observe what's working and what's not and make adjustments accordingly. The security you deeply crave is coming if it's not already knocking on your door. I love that. Yeah. So there you go. So be sure that you check out her scopes. They are so good. Okay. And of course, there's lots more in Luminous. I'm not going to go through all of it today, but be sure that you do. I hope you have a chance to sit down with it and read through it. And I hope you can get something from it that is helpful and useful for you, for sure. Okay. Oh, thank you, Sid. Oh, I sleep. I sleep. People always ask me that. When do you sleep? And I'm like, I have rheumatoid arthritis. I have to sleep. If I don't, I can't function. Don't worry. I'm sleeping. Okay. Let's keep going. I did want to tell you about our two of our new cases over at True Crime Paranormal. So this week we've dropped two new cases already, and we have one more coming out tomorrow. We covered a case about a girl named Alexandra Masanu. This is a case out of Romania. This girl was 15. She was hitchhiking and she was kidnapped. And she found a phone in the room that she was being held in this old man's house, and called the police and pled with them to save her 3 times. And I read the transcript on the show of the conversations she has with them, but the police basically blow her off. They're super, super rude to her. They aren't supportive. They're not helping her. She is sobbing and begging them to save her life. And they don't show up for 19 hours after she calls them, and she was dead. It's very sad, but it also sparked serious outrage in Romania. This happened in 2019 and forced the sacking of several several ministers over various departments, and made some really big changes in their legal system. At least started the ball rolling and making some changes in their legal system that really needed to happen. And her family has been at the forefront of that, of course. But it's pretty amazing to read that and consider anyone talking to any human, but let alone a 15-year-old girl that way and discounting her life that much. But that was one of our cases this week. One of the others is we did a case on human trafficking. I got to tell you, it was hard to research. It was hard to even do that case. It sucked. But the truth of human trafficking on this planet is astonishing. And so we shared 3 cases of girls that have been trafficked, one in Cambodia, one in Argentina, and one in Akron, Ohio. And because it is happening in the US a lot as well. And then we talked about what to watch for and what to do if you think that there's trafficking going on. It's pretty astonishing. One thing that I did not really seem to understand personally, and maybe you guys do know this, but I did not. I guess I thought that if someone was being trafficked, this was like a disappearance, right? That somebody was snatched off the street and we never heard from them again, kind of a thing. No, not necessarily. In fact, quite often not. And we started to learn this a little with Jeffrey Epstein, but teenage girls that are being trafficked are most frequently trafficked by their parents. And basically, they're loaned out for a certain amount of time. And then they come back home. So it's very likely that the person that's being trafficked, you might not know that's what's happening with them because they live at home most of the time. They're being taken and farmed out for weekends here and there, maybe a little longer here and there, but it's not. Now, of course, there is that kind of trafficking where people are snatched and we never hear from them again. Don't get me wrong, but a much more common form of human trafficking is basically it happening in your area. Like, for example, the little girl in Ohio, her mother had appointments lined up with men. She would take her daughter to their apartments and drop her off and wait in the car until they were done with her and take her to their next appointment. Yeah, till she finally ran away. Mom was a coke addict, and they were paying her either $40 for a session with her daughter or cocaine. Uh, that has gotten way too common. The other thing that we learned is that the virginity of young girls in areas like Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand are for sale. And in some areas, 100% of girls are being trafficked at least once by the time they are 12 years old because their parents are selling their virginity. So at least once they will be taken to one of the hotels, or they call them hotels, in their area where they basically are participating in sex trafficking tourism. And they'll be given to a man for a couple of days, and he pays top dollar for it. And these are people that live in highly impoverished areas, and it's one of the ways that they are paying to survive. 100% of children in certain areas, or of little girls in certain areas, imagine that it's just a part of their rite of passage that their virginity will be sold. It's horrifying. It sucks. I don't love talking about it. Nobody likes hearing it. YouTube refused to monetize that episode. Yeah, I thought that was pretty telling. But we have got to be very aware of what's really happening because so much of it is happening under our noses. And we don't know it because we have this preconceived idea of what sex trafficking looks like or what human trafficking looks like. And we have to open our eyes to it. I will be honest, I think that some groups are not furthering this because all of the conspiracy theories around sex trafficking. There's truth to what's being said and there are untruths. And I think that sometimes it's taking the spotlight off of what's really happening. And so I do feel like we need to really cut to the chase, to the truth, but we need to stay aware. Absolutely. It's crazy. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Mary says human trafficking is all over, busting up cops are constantly busting up rings. Yes. And lots of undercover units too. And very specific. There's actually the Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the Center for, I think it's for Human Trafficking in the United States. That's who you call if you think that there is trafficking happening somewhere that it could be a neighbor. It could be, a house in your neighborhood that has some weird comings and goings. It could be a lot of things that you notice that don't sit right with you. But they actually ask you to not call the police, but to call the National Center for uh, Human Trafficking instead, because they have to coordinate with the police to create a bust. If not, it could actually put the lives of the people that are being trafficked in extreme danger. So it has to be a coordinated thing, not just blazing in guns blaring, because that results in the deaths of these people far too often. So it's pretty interesting. And honestly, I would really encourage everybody to do a little more research, even though it's uncomfortable, even though it's a topic no one really wants to talk about. We got to get real. So those were two of our cases this week. We have another one breaking tomorrow, but at any rate, that's what we've been studying this week. So fun stuff. But no, it's important. It's important. It's easy to just pretend like life is just you know, sunshine and butterflies all the time, and it is for a lot of us in lots of ways. But that's not the reality of life on earth for so many people. And we can't just pretend otherwise. Okay. I want to do some singing bowl work. I have a brand new bowl that I got for Christmas. So, some of you guys that were with me last week saw it. Even though radio wasn't live, I did go ahead and come live on here on my channels and do my show for the last 2 weeks. So, some of you guys saw my bowl last week, but this is a crystal singing bowl. It is in the note of F, which is the heart chakra. I think F, yeah, C, D, E, F, yeah. Had to remember. Had to run up the chakras and remember. So we're going to play it twice. The first time we play it, I'm going to ask you to just hold space in your heart and allow the frequency of the singing bowl to just release any energy that you're holding that is not what you need anymore. Maybe this is grief, it's anxiety, it's fear, it's old heart hurts, it's shame. It's whatever comes to the surface that's ready to be cleared. So we'll do that first. Bear in mind, this is loud. Okay. All right. So that's a start. Isn't that bowl perfection? You know a bowl is good when you stop playing it, it actually gets louder. That means that the resonance is continuing to go on and build even without friction, which is pretty amazing. So, wow. Okay. So with that clearing done, I'm going to go back. This time, we're just going to hold space that the frequency of the singing bowl will bring your heart into perfect balance. A balance of pink energy, that's that love of self, and green energy, that's love of everybody else. Let's see if we can get some balance there for all of you. Most of you tend to be green heavy and lacking in the pink, so I want to see us try and bring some balance to it. Okay. And there we go. Wow. Truly so in love with that bowl. It's pretty amazing. Okay. We have covered all kinds of weird ground today. Did you know I'd have you on such a roller coaster today? You probably did. Okay. Sheila said Kia Ra, who wrote the Sophia Code, was born inside human trafficking was born inside a human trafficking group and lived that life until he escaped. Wow. Mary also said, Mary, ask Scott. He ordered it for me for Christmas. I put him so on the spot because on the All I Want for Christmas show that Tamara Childs and I did together, she asked me what I want for Christmas, and I said I wanted a new heart chakra singing bowl. It wasn't something I'd asked for. It just kind of occurred to me at that moment that I really wanted one. My little Tibetan bowl was like a little teeny, little chimer, not a good singer. And I've always wanted a better heart bowl to work with you guys on the air with. So that was a week before Christmas. So poor Scott he heard me say that because he was producing that show and went, oh my God. So he actually ordered it that day during the show and didn't really think it would come in time. And it showed up on Christmas Eve. So anyway, ask him. He can probably share with you a link. Okay. Mary also said with schools closed for COVID, I worry that kids are in more danger than ever without teachers and staff to be able to protect them. It is a true worry for that, for hunger, for lots of reasons. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I know it's a really hard line, right? Because what do you do? What do you do? This pandemic has definitely stretched the limits of what we know to do correctly or not correctly. And, I don't have the answers to it. I really don't. But I agree with you. The kids are definitely more at risk right now. Okay, I'm going to jump into the other chat room here for just a minute. Facebook is updating really, really slowly. Okay. Pamela said that made her head feel like it was expanding into contracting. That bowl expands and contracts. Totally. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to look for some animal communication questions here. I'm seeing some of your babies in the chat room. Let's take a look. All right, Katie says, please help me. She's a wild one. Maybe you can tell her to get her ass inside and stop terrorizing Karen. Oh, dear. Her name is Luna Ann. She's a rescue. She's a super good girl, but she's on house arrest right now because she wouldn't come in for 8 hours yesterday. She's a husky, and they do really, really, really want to be outside. She's gorgeous. Yeah, let me have a conversation with Luna Ann. I love that her name is Luna, by the way. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. She is doing her work. You guys rescued her. She is taking her place in your home, doing her job, and right now it is keeping an eye on things. I don't want her to become your guard dog. I think that could turn into a potentially bad situation. I'm going to show her that she can keep an eye on things from the window, but that it's your job to keep an eye on things, that you are the guardian of the property, and that's not her job to take. So I'm really trying to help set you up. I hate this term because I'm really not big on the whole, leader of the pack thing with your dogs. Sometimes I think that just turns into I just don't think it always works. But in this case, and with her breed, you have to be the alpha over her. So again, I use that loosely because that whole theory of dog training falls a little flat with me. But in her case specifically, yeah, you are the alpha. I am asking her to submit to you. And I'm going to encourage you to do a little research in other practices in your home to be sure that you are showing her that you're the alpha. It's easy things. I mean, it's stuff like, eating before she does, just putting yourself above her in certain ways. I know it kind of sucks, but at the same time, this is how, because she is a very headstrong breed and she wants to be the alpha. It's her job to become that if she can. You can't let her overthrow the queen, right? So at this point right now, we have to show her that. And then that I did tell her that you're the alpha and that she has to submit to you. We'll see where that goes. We can't let her become the guardian of the property like this because she could get aggressive and then what? Then she might be a rescue again. We don't want that. Okay. Raven said, "Did you see the green fairy? Absinthe supposedly makes you see one." I did not, but I didn't really drink that much. Maybe another day. Maybe not. I don't know. It's not worth how I'm going to feel tomorrow. It's actually alcohol is really hard on my calcium, and so I don't drink very often. And if we do, I don't drink very much because it's not worth the calcium crash tomorrow. Okay, Sid, will you please check in with Kit Kat? She is warm enough being outside in the shelter, but at times this in the cold screen porch. Is she satisfied with the cleanliness of the litter box to put a stop on the floor peeing? There have been a few more episodes. I have created as much shelter as possible. Okay, let's check in with her. Well, she's still mad. And I'm showing her yet again if she would just use the litter box and prove to you that she will do a better job, that, you know, things could be easier for her. And I'm definitely asking her to not pee outside of the box anymore. But yeah, those episodes are still her showing you that she's, pissed off. Yeah, but she's okay. I feel like she's warm and safe. Okay. All right. Kylie says, "Can I get a reading on our dog Buddy? Just wanting to know his story before he came to us. My boyfriend found him in a cemetery in his grandfather's hometown. Oh, and can you tell him it's not okay to wake me up by biting me?" Okay. Oh my gosh. He is absolutely adorable, you guys. He is so cute. Okay. Let's tune into this guy. Oh, good Lord. Okay. Oh, he's got some Shih Tzu, huh? Maybe Shih Tzu Chihuahua? God, he's darling. Okay. Persistent, yes. He lived in a family that had way too many dogs, but not taken care of, like a yard full of dogs. And I feel like they had dogs that had puppies, and then they didn't get rid of the puppies, and so they just had more dogs. And eventually, some of the dogs were dropped off. Not at the cemetery, but in the vicinity of the cemetery. 2 other dogs got hit by cars. But he wandered into the cemetery, and people would had been coming there and petting him and being nice to him. So he'd kinda hung around there. I feel like he'd actually been there for a couple of days when, he was rescued. But yeah, he was there because he found some kindness. He didn't really know where to go or what to do. Like I said, the other dogs he was with actually got hit, and so he didn't know what to do. I mean, he's such a nice kid, and it's hard to imagine people being this selfish and greedy and ridiculous, but they are. He is so, so, so happy though. He loves you guys so much. So I did tell him to stop biting you, to wake you up. He's just persistent. When he's ready for you to be up, he wants you to be up. He's adorable. Thank God for you guys giving him a home. What a good kid. And how sad. Okay. Oh, she said they were told Karen Terrier and Poodle. I can't not see the Shih Tzu in him. Those big eyes? I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but what an angel. Okay, let's see. Sorry, guys. Just running through the chat room here real quick. Okay. Let me grab the other chat. Okay. Sometimes I lose some of the chat. Let's see. Nope, it's all here. Let's see. I had thought. Mary said, "Can we please let Tammy know that we will be leaving this Saturday for 2 weeks and that David will take good care of her?" Yep. Let me tune into her. Okay. I mean, she likes David. She's going to be okay. She does not like the idea of you leaving. And she's probably going to give you some serious puppy dog eyes when you're packing those bags, but she'll be okay. She at least likes David, so she'll be all right. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Sometimes the chat room is a little slow. Okay. Sarah said, "My cat Boudica isn't big on physical affection. Is she unhappy? What can we do to help her know that we love her and we love having her?" Let me tune into her. She's happy. She's regal. She just doesn't want to be touched. I mean, occasionally. I know it once in a while she'll ask for a little bit of love and then off she goes. She's just not big on being touched. I feel like she's kind of one of those people or cats whose nerve endings are really close to the surface and touch is fairly uncomfortable for them. She just doesn't like it. But she likes you guys. And likes the arrangement. I know because she's not as loving and affectionate, it might feel like she's not as happy as other cats that wanna rub against you and purr and, share that physical connection, but she's happy with her arrangement. She also said that when she wants to be touched, she will let you know. Typical cat. No, Sarah, you're doing a fine job with her. She's fine. This is just her. Okay. Okay. Cindy said my dog Major is 10 years old and has two disorders, bowel and digestive disorders. Oh, with skin and bones. Oh, I'm sorry. He is such a good dog too. But Cindy, you are so well versed in how to take care of your dogs. I know that you're doing everything you can for him. And I don't feel like he's, like, terribly uncomfortable, you know? It's not comfortable. The digestive thing is pretty uncomfortable, but I feel like when it flares up, take some steps to calm it back down, and that's working quite well. I do worry about him carrying weight, if we're gonna see him continue to drop in weight, that's one of the things that comes up for me the most. Poor guy. Okay, you guys. Well, we've done it. We've definitely talked down to the end of the show. Please stay tuned, of course, for Good Life with Robert Underwood. And I'll be back. But don't forget, I am a professional psychic advisor at one2listen.com. You can find me there every single day. And I'll be back on Thursday with Strange Phenomena and Mysteries here on 12 Radio at 10 a.m. Pacific with Raven and Kelly. So lots more to come. Thanks so much for being here. You've been listening to The Katie Weaver Show here on 12 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen.